shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an...
What's going on, fight fans? It's another great day when you love MMA. Welcome back to Mad Matty Fight Talk. Your host, Mad Matty, once again with the birthday boy, Crazy Chris. We got a big fight event coming up, UFC 272, March 5th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We got two top contenders, former teammates, big-time rivals, Colby Covington taking on Jorge Masvidal. We're going to be breaking down the top five in the main card for this event coming up. And let's start off with the main event right here, Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. I like this matchup. Very intriguing fight. And what do you think about it? What do you think about this setup?
Man, I can't wait to see this fight. It's going to be a banger. The big difference in this fight is these guys live together. They've eaten dinner at the same table. They have a personal relationship. So going into this one, it's going to be an absolute all-out war. I'm very, very excited. We have this main event coming at the welterweight limit. So that means that both fighters for the main event should be making the 170 on the dot mark. If they want to, they can come in at 171. But they're both coming off of losses to the champion, Kamaru Usman. So for me, it's kind of tricky, man. They both lost to the previous losses to the same guy. It's really hard to judge their last fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. They both are really talented fighters, but I think that Colby Covington's had a little bit of a tougher resume than Jorge Masvidal has over the last 10 fights. And if you look at the way they both lost, Colby lost fourth round TKO the first time against Usman, and then like a 5-round decision the second fight. And both fights were really close until the very end of the first one where he got his jaw broken. Masvidal got knocked completely out cold. And in the first fight, it was a 5-round decision. So it's kind of, what's going to happen in this one? I think that for Colby Covington to win this fight, he needs to be able to take Jorge down right away. And he needs to put the pace on him from the get-go. He needs to fight this fight how he fought Rafael Dos Anjos, and he needs to avoid the power of Masvidal. And real quick, for Masvidal to win, obviously needs to stuff takedowns, and he can't get pressured against the cage. I think he needs to land hard counters, and he's going to have to do some serious damage to earn the respect of Covington right away. Now, with them being roommates and former training partners, do you think that plays a role in how this fight is going to be different than how these guys normally face opponents?
Absolutely. It plays a huge part. If I was to fight one of my sparring partners, I mean, that guy knows me inside and out. He knows exactly my go-tos, my tricks, what I practice day in, what I practice day out, what I'm worried about, what I'm not worried about. This plays a huge factor into their fighting. Was that a few years ago? Absolutely, was a few years ago. Things can change, but that doesn't take away the fact that you felt this guy's power. You understand what his go-to is. They've been in each other's corner. This is how intense this is going to get. All right. The big factor for me is Jorge. He doesn't have a lot of positive years left in him. And unfortunately for him, this is going to be his 51st fight. And that's 51 in the ring. We know this guy's a street fighter back in the day. So good Lord, the miles, this guy's at 150,000 miles on the, if this was a car, he'd be at the check engine light. You know what I mean? Colby, on the other hand, this isn't a do or die for him. He could easily lose this fight, win 3 in a row, and come back and be the champion after Kamaru Usman is gone. Jorge, unfortunately, this is a do or die. So he's going to have to stuff takedowns. He's going to have to be aggressive. He's going to have to use his tricky, his tricky style of setting up his strikes for the big punches. He's going to have to also have and this is a big question mark, not just being able to survive 5 rounds. Can you fight to your full ability with Colby Chaos Covington for 5 fights?
Yeah. And I think, and to answer that question, I think that Masvidal, given their background together, I think he's going to have a lot less respect for Covington than he did for Kamaru Usman, who was able to set him up with a highlight reel knockout. I don't think Covington's going to get the same luxury in this fight because Masvidal knows him so well. He was in his corner. They've lived together, like you said. They've trained together. I mean, like if I was fighting somebody I know well and I knew they knew what I was good and bad at, I know they're going to attack that right away. With that being said, though, I don't think Masvidal is going to worry too much about the takedown in this fight. And I think he knows that if he touches Colby's chin often that he could win. But I guess another question I have is he's been brutally knocked out recently. And it hasn't happened too often in his career, but he's been hurt in other fights as well. Do you believe that the Chuck Liddell effect is a real thing where as these guys get older, their chins get weaker, the more you get knocked out, the quicker your lights shut out? I mean, I don't know. I've heard Joe Rogan talk about this. I just don't know if I want to buy into that. I don't know if it's your training, or I don't know if it just comes with age, but I'm curious as to if you think that's going to play a role in this fight.
This tough, man. It's a tough question. And I only can go by my personal experience. I flew over to, I was fighting in Hawaii. I flew over to another island to fight their hometown kid. And unfortunately for me, I got knocked out in the first round. Now, I took a lot of time afterwards, and I didn't spar for a lot of that time. And I was unaware of the effects of being KO'd until that time. The next fight I had, I just remember just being like, fuck, dude, I don't want to get touched in the chin. And he cracked me with a right hand that sat me right on my ass. And, but it woke me up. I finished the fight. It was another 3-by-3 war. For me, it played a factor, man. It's tough to say when you go and get knocked out brutally, let's be honest. It was a freaking brutal KO. And you're trying to come back and fight somebody who has extremely good cardio, but in your head that they don't really have the capability of setting you up to knock you out, maybe so tire you out and TKO you. I think George is going to go in there, and I know this guy. I know he's not going to hit me like Kamaru hit me, and there's no way, he rocks me with any of his punches. Then he might have a better mindset going in there, and it might not play the effect. On the other hand, he's an older guy, man, and he's not fighting bums. He's fighting world-class fighters. So if Colby touches his chin often, and I think what we're gonna see, to answer your question, what I think we're gonna see is we're gonna see a fight, and we will get that answer come UFC 272. I believe that we get that answered. I don't know.
That was a long roundabout to tell me you don't know, but in the end, I think
because to be honest with you, man, if Colby goes in there. Because he hit Kamaru with some big shots, not a lot, but he hit him with a couple, right? And if he wobbles George, if I see George get wobbled by a big shot, that will tell me that his chin is declining, right? If George can get in there, get through the fight, get touched a little bit, but not get rocked, then it's going to tell us that, okay, he's not having the Chuck Liddell effect, right? But again, Cody Garbrandt, who's another one? There's Damian Maia. He had a streak where he was just getting his chin, after he got knocked out by Nate Marquardt, he was having a streak of getting, touched and not wanting to get hit. And that played a factor in his career. There's a lot of people, man. Anderson Silva, he got slept by Weidman. He got his, leg broken. And then after that, it was all downhill from there. So, a lot, I don't know. We have to see if George comes in and bounces back.
Looking at this fight, and if I had to predict and put my money on a fighter, judging off of their resumes and what they've done over the past 10 fights, I would have to go with Colby Covington in this fight, because I think Jorge Masvidal's best years are behind him. He does have knockout ability, but Colby is not a guy that you can just knock out. Who has ever knocked this guy completely out cold? Nobody. Can you hurt him? Yeah, of course you can. But also, I don't think that Masvidal hits the same way that Kamaru Usman does. I think Usman has developed into a real haymaker, power striker that with a good wrestling background. Colby Covington puts too much pressure on people. He has outstanding striking. He's not the greatest striker in the world, but he definitely can hurt you, and he uses it to set up his wrestling. If he fights how I think he's going to fight in this fight, it's going to be a long night for Masvidal. Masvidal's tough as fuck, so I'm saying 5-round decision to Colby Covington, because I think Masvidal will have his moments, but I think Covington is going to get the better of him on the feet. He's going to land more often than Masvidal is, and he's definitely going to out-grapple him.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. I honestly, my heart wants to say George is going to go out there and get the job done. But, George has had a struggle in his career with grapplers, man. And Colby is unfortunately one of the best grapplers in the division. So for me, I think Colby grinds out a 5-round decision, like you said. I'm not counting George out. I am just saying, if I was to put money on this particular fight, and I saw that Colby is a +2 whatever, and George is a -2 something, I'm gonna take Colby Covington every time, because that means the Vegas odds are seeing the same thing I'm seeing, that this is gonna be a grind, and George has one way of winning, and that's by finishing Colby with touching his chin.
And here's the deal, dude. If Masvidal's stuffing or defending a takedown for a majority of a round, and you're not taking him to the ground, but that's putting pressure, that's octagon control, and that looks good to the judges.
Colby can grind out a win 1,000 times over George, man. It is what it is. I would, in my personal feeling, I would like to see George win this grudge match, just because Colby, is talking about his wife, his kids and stuff, I'd like to see George go in there and get the job done. But the skill set, the clown of Colby is a front, man. It makes people not think his skill set is real. His skill set is very real, and he is very dangerous in the octagon, especially when it comes to one-on-one wrestling. So I take Colby, 5-round decision over George.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, for the main event, we're both going for Colby Covington. Not that it's going to be an easy fight for Covington. I think his skill set is just at this point in their career better than Masvidal's.
Absolutely. Moving right along to the co-main event, we have it coming in at lightweight. We got Rafael Dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev. This one is going to be an absolute fucking barn burner. I'm so pumped up for this fight. Matty, take it away. Who you got on this fight?
This fight to me is one of the more exciting fights. It's a classic grappler versus striker match. What's his name? Fiziev?
Yeah, we'll say Rafael F and Rafael D.
All right. Well, we'll go RDA for that guy. But anyway,
RDA
Fiziev is 11-1 right now. He's on a 5-fight win streak. The dude is a really fun guy to watch fight. His fight with Bobby Green was hella exciting. His last fight that he had against
I can't remember his last name, but Bradley, the guy that used to be the Tiger Muay Thai head coach.
Regardless, anyway, coming off 2 great performances, spinning heel kick knockout, and then you got RDA, former lightweight champion, 30-13, 5 KOs, 10 submissions. This is going to be a tough fight for Fiziev because he's going to be taking on a guy who's extremely durable. He hasn't fought in almost 2 years, though. It's the only thing. This fight's going to be really tough for him. But if he can stuff takedowns, keep RDA off of him, and make this a stand-up fight, he definitely has a chance of winning and possibly by KO. But for me, I just think RDA has the experience. He's a really, really tough guy to finish. He has been finished, but he's a really tough guy to finish. And his grappling is extremely good. He's going to put a lot of pressure on Fiziev. And I just don't see that dude being able to hold him off for 3 whole rounds. I don't see it.
See, this is where the people that say that the new generation is always going to beat the old generation, new fighters. But look, man, this is the real thing. There is a guy named Glover Teixeira that disagrees with you. All right, we have a guy named Clay Guida that disagrees with you. And the funny thing is, I'm taking Rafael Fiziev. But RDA has a fighting chance, man. This guy's an ex-champion, 30-13, been through the game, been fighting forever. He's fought the toughest guys in the fucking world for the last 12 years. Rafael Fiziev, on the other hand, young lion, new Tiger Muay Thai head coach over there in Thailand, and that's an absolutely monstrous job. So this guy doesn't have a big resume on his record, but absolutely, I mean, look at his fights. Durable, spinning heel kick knockouts. The guy can do it all, man. This guy's an absolute savage. And what I'm going to think is RDA took a 2-year layoff, and that's a long time to not be in the cage, man. And Rafael's been taking some tough competition in. I'm going by Rafael Fiziev. And, I think RDA is a tough vet. I think he grinds it out, but I think Rafael Fiziev by three co-main event, so 3-round decision. I think he takes a unanimous decision. And I honestly don't even think it's close. I think he just buries him the entire 3 by 3. Rafael stays in there. He's tough because he's a world-class fighter. But I think he's an old fighter, old champion. Rafael Fiziev is going to come in there with a monster.
Listen. Hold on. All right, listen. Call me old-fashioned. How do you guys, after just watching everything that these people do over their career, just think, oh, they're old, they're done? Dude, this guy.
Because it's a fighting sport, man.
Fiziev is a great fighter. Dos Anjos is a smart fighter. He's very smart. Doesn't take a lot of damage.
What is the average NFL career? What is the average NFL career?
2 different sports.
But they both take damage. They both lift weights. They both put their body on the line every day, right? That's because when you're a fucking vet like Rafael and you've been fighting 15, 20 years, that's a lot of damage, man. That's a lot of damage.
Okay, listen. A dude who's fought 12 times as a pro versus a guy who's fought 43 times as a pro, who's won 10 subs, 5 KOs. He's a finisher, a better grappler, and a more experienced fighter who has championship experience. Listen, Fiziev is definitely going to get a shot at proving that he is legit. He's number 11, taking on number 6. They want to move this guy up the rankings. They want to see what he has to offer. And I like this guy a lot. And I think if he lands, he could hurt RDA bad. It's been done before. But what I think is going to happen, he's going to be a lot harder to touch. They're the same height, similar reach. RDA is going to grind this dude on the fence and turn this into a grappling war that guy is not going to be able to hang with. It's going to happen.
Do we see RDA turn the clock like Glover and come out and absolutely put on a clinic? Or do we see a young lion go in there? Do we see a young lion go in there and take over the pride? Like that?
Listen, RDA is not even nearly as old looking as Glover is. Glover's just a beast. RDA still has lots of fights left in him. The dude hasn't aged. He's taken 2 years off. He's going to be fresh as hell. He's going to be coming out like a fucking firing cylinders.
He also has a plate in his jaw. He got knocked out by Jeremy Stevens, then knocked out by Clay Guida, and Clay Guida put a plate in his jaw.
That's fine. It's okay. It makes his jaw even stronger for this Fiziev guy.
Well, he better hope he has an Iron Man jaw. Look, I don't disagree with you. I believe RDA is a vet, and when you're a vet with that many fights, you're crafty. You have tools. There's a reason you've been around this long in the UFC. But I'm telling you, Rafael he's that young lion with that big mane coming over the hill, saying, "You know, it's your time to leave."
And there's no doubt. I like that guy, and I think he's a hell of a fighter. He's going to have a great career, and this is going to be a big test.
I think he's amazing. I think he's going to be a champion in the future.
My prediction, though, for this fight is RDA is going to tap him out in the third round because he's going to grind him out for the first 2.5 rounds. Fiziev is going to be tired as hell, and he's just going to quit in the third round. He's going to make this guy quit.
Does have to, if he does do it, it's not going to be one of those things because you're not Fiesa. The thing about Fiesa that people underestimate is he's not a guy you come out and you can ever finish in the first round. He doesn't make.
Is his name Fiziev or Fiesa?
Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe it's Fiziev.
Whatever, Fiziev. Let us know in the comments. Either way, I like the guy. I've been watching a lot of his fights.
I really appreciating his fighting style and what he brings to the octagon. But the thing, like I said, is going to be that thing. Is the old crafty vet going to outsmart the young lion? Rafael Fiziev by third round decision, final prediction. And that's with all due respect to RDA, because I do really like him as a fighter. So
my prediction, if GSP can come back from a fucking 4-year layoff and win the championship at middleweight, RDA is coming back in a 3-round fight and beating Fiziev in a 3-round fight. He's going to tap him out in the third round, like I said. And Fiziev's going to probably crack him and hurt him, but he's not going to win that fight. And he has the potential to knock him out, but I just don't see it happening. I just don't.
All right.
Moving on to the next fight on the main card, we got number 10 Edson Barbosa taking on number 11 Bryce Mitchell. This is a pretty interesting matchup.
This is going to be a featherweight fight, correct?
Yeah, you're probably right, actually. So 145 division. Edson Barbosa taking on Bryce Mitchell. 14-1 Bryce Mitchell. He's on a 5-fight win streak, taking on Edson Barbosa, who's coming off of a pretty bad loss to Giga Chikadze. Who do you have winning this fight? How do you think it's going to go?
What's funny is I actually go to mybookie.ag.com. We don't get any money for sponsorships or anything like that, but I bet on mybookie.com, and I have money on Bryson Mitchell winning this fight. And look, Edson Barbosa, veteran, dangerous, but he's the type of guy, man, that nobody talks about. He is 101, the gatekeeper at 145 and 155. If you beat him, your career goes skyrocketing. If you can't beat him, you kind of stay in the middle of the pack, or we've seen even people decline from losing to him, right? Look, the real deal is I do not think Edson can hang with Bryson Mitchell's ground game. That kid out in the Midwest, absolutely a terrorizer from Arkansas with his jiu-jitsu. Second guy to ever pull a twister off in the UFC, and in the same weight class as the guy who did it originally, Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie. So for me, I think Bryson Mitchell, if he's smart, which the kid seems to be very talented when it comes to his fighting, I believe he goes in there, he makes sure that he can't get really touched up on the feet by closing the gap early, takes it to the ground. I think we see a second round submission coming from Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, Bryce Mitchell has 9 wins by submission. If you guys haven't heard of this kid, he's a rising star, hella good grappler. The real tell of this fight's going to be when they get in the octagon and the fight starts. If Edson Barbosa can stuff 1-2 takedowns and make this fight standing up, he's definitely going to knock Bryce Mitchell out. Guaranteed. No doubt that he'll put hands on Mitchell. If Mitchell can grab him and control him and get him to the ground, he is going to submit Edson Barbosa. And this fight is going to be extremely fun to watch, but it's hard to disagree with that. Edson Barbosa, where he's at in his career right now, he looks like he's been through a lot of wars, and fighting ground fighters is not where he likes to be. We saw what Khabib did, and Khabib is, leaps and bounds above everybody. But Barbosa gets really tired when he is forced to fight on the ground. Although him at 145, it's been a good transition for the most part until he fought Chikadze. I just see Bryce Mitchell winning this fight by submission, possibly in the second round, because he is going to have to stay away from Barbosa's stand-up. And I think it's not going to be easy right away to get somebody who's experienced like Barbosa to the ground, but I think ultimately he will, and he'll finish the fight. I can't disagree with that. I also have Bryce Mitchell winning that.
The thing is, Edson is always dangerous. And I mean, he's an absolute monster when it comes to his kicking game. His kicks are stupid good. They're very accurate, very beautiful. I mean, if I was to tell somebody you want to be a good kicker, I'd say go look at Edson Barbosa. You know what I mean? That's the kind of kicking guy that this guy has. Perfect technique. It's an absolute monster. His pop is amazing. But the big hole in his game is his grappling. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have good grappling, because his takedown defense is absolutely phenomenal. And when he stuffs guys, he stuffs them hard. So he can absolutely do that against Bryson Mitchell. I just think Bryson is young, hungry, from Arkansas, so he has that grittiness to him. And I think he gets in there and gets the fight to the ground. I do see him winning in the second round by submission. But again, Edson Barbosa, always very dangerous on his feet and can knock you out at any second. So Bryson's going to have to be on he's going to have to be on his Q's and A's when it comes to the technical striking.
Yeah, Barbosa has great leg kicks and great head kicks and all of the spinning fancy shit, which leaves openings to be taken down. If Bryce Mitchell stands up with Barbosa, he is going to get knocked out. He is nowhere near a Giga Chikadze standing up. He needs to get this fight to the ground. If he stands up for 3 rounds of Barbosa and tries to strike with him, he is going to get knocked out. But I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to come with a smart game plan, take it down. I think he gets a submission.
Yeah, he's going to do what he's best at, because that's the only way you're winning that fight. You're not winning a stand-up fight.
Let's move on to the welterweight division. And yes, I said the welterweight division, welcoming back Kevin Holland versus Alex Cowboy. Now, who do you have on this one, man? It's going to be an interesting fight, in my opinion.
I think this is an interesting fight as well. And I think Kevin Holland is going to be an even more dangerous fighter at 170. That dude is really big, really lean, really long. And Alex Oliveira is not the kind of guy who just makes fights grappling matches. He likes to stand and bang with dudes. And Kevin Holland's been working a lot on his ground game. I think that Oliveira is going to get knocked out in the first round. I really think so. I think because both of these guys, their style is to trade. And Oliveira I've seen him get hurt too many times in his career. Although he has 12 KOs, 5 submissions, Kevin Holland has 10 KOs and 7 submissions in his career. He's tapped a lot of people out. I just see Oliveira wanting to touch this guy because, he's an OG in the welterweight. But I just think Holland hits hard and he's a great boxer. I think I'm hoping that these guys stand and bang, and regardless, one of them is getting knocked out, but I think Kevin Holland will be knocking him out in the first round.
So this is my opinion on this. Alex used to fight comfortably at 155, is moving up to 170. Kevin's going down from 185 to 170. So they're kind of meeting each other in the middle here. But this is a dangerous fight for Kevin. If Alex gets him to the ground, and Alex is Alex Oliveira is a scary dude on the ground. I think he's very underestimated in his striking and his ground game, because he's a tough guy when it comes to grappling. He's one of those guys that can just have that stupid strength where he just holds you there and you guys don't move positions for minutes at a time, right? So Kevin Holland's going to have to be very, very smart when it comes to his technical striking. Now, if he can strike and make sure that, Cowboy can't get up on him and make this a grittiness fight the way he should and needs to, I say Kevin Holland knocks him out pretty easily. Maybe the later round, second, third round. But
yeah, and you're talking about a guy who's coming down from middleweight. This guy fought Marvin Vettori, Derek Brunson. He had a no contest against Kyle Daukaus.
What a tall guy like Kevin Holland, does that play a factor when he cut weight coming down to 170? How drained is he going to be, right?
He's not a big 185er. Dude. He's not a big 185er. He's a
tall 185er though.
Yeah, but that's fine. But he can make 170 easy. He's one of those guys who balances in between the weight classes perfectly. I think Holland's going to be a scary, scary dude going down to 170. I think we're going to see an even better version of this guy. And he's fine-tuning what he's been failing at. That's the most important key to this fight, is Oliveira can try and take him down. Can you get him down? We're going to see. But standing up, I just think Holland is a better striker than Oliveira. Oliveira takes more damage when he's and I'm not discrediting this guy. I love watching Cowboy fight, but he he leaves too many openings, and I think Holland hits too hard to do that.
All right. So final prediction.
Kevin Holland, late first round knockout.
I'm gonna say, look, this is gonna be me. I think the weight cut gets to him. I don't think he's gonna be prepared. I say Cowboy Oliviera, second round rear naked choke.
Oh man, I just don't see him winning a ground fight again. I think Holland's gonna be able to get back up. I mean, I'm hoping it's a first round brawl and one of these guys gets slept, because I love both of them. And I definitely think Holland can do good in the 170 division, but we'll see.
Yeah, Holland definitely his striking is going to be very worried, but I don't know, man. Alex is so gritty and he's just down to bang. I think he gets it. I think he gets to his back and chokes him, but let's we'll find out. All right, moving on to the heavyweight division. We got Greg Hardy versus Serghei, and I can't pronounce. I'm going to butcher his last name.
Spivac.
So this is a very interesting fight. Look, Greg Hardy 2-2 in his last 4. Serghei 3-1 in his last 4. Both of these guys have the KO power. Both of these guys, have a few fights under their belt in the UFC now. Very interesting matchup. Knowing Greg Hardy just got knocked out by Tai Tuivasa and bouncing back so quick, how do you feel about this fight?
Look, I think the UFC was trying to build Greg Hardy up to be a big, scary dude, and they wanted to promote the shit out of him. I could tell when he came in there, that's what they wanted to do. He's lost 2 of his last 2 losses are by knockout. All right. Serghei, on the other hand, I've watched a lot of his fights. He moves very well. He's a very smart, technical fighter. And I just don't see Greg Hardy being able to beat this guy. I mean, here's the thing. If Hardy's like one of those guys that he just has to hit you one time and he has the potential to knock you out. He put Tuivasa on skates and then got slept with a counter. I just don't think he's going to be able to touch Serghei like that. I think Serghei is he's going to pick him apart and probably finish this fight early in the 3rd round. I think that he's a lot better at establishing his game plan and controlling the distance and controlling the movement he has more experience than Greg Hardy does. And I just see him winning by a 3rd round TKO.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a little bit more technique coming out of Greg, knowing he's been knocked out his last 2. And he really tried to get in there and rush on this one and try to get that finish, which he was fucking super close to getting. And I think Serghei is going to try to do what you say and take his time. I don't think Greg Hardy's going to let him take his time. I think Greg Hardy cracks his chin early and puts him away in the 1st round.
There's no doubt that Hardy's he has 7 wins. 6 of them were by knockout. I'm not trying to hate on this guy. I just haven't seen a lot. And like I said, I think
I'm not saying you're hating, but
no, people watching this might think I am. And like I said, this is just my opinion. If I'm watching these fights, I'm not unprofessional. I'm not going to dick ride any of these guys, dude. I've watched these guys fight, and this is what I personally think about it. Greg Hardy, I feel like they were trying to promote him too quickly. Tuivasa is on a different level. Regardless that he got cracked and ended up having to come back from that, he won by knockout. Greg Hardy lost. So to me, losing 2 fights in a row by knockout, I don't trust that against somebody who's as good as Serghei is. I think Serghei is going to do damage in this fight, and I think he's going to control the distance. Now, if he does get cracked, Hardy obviously, I mean, these are heavyweights, dude. Obviously, he has the power to knock him out. If Greg Hardy fights technical, he has a really good chance of finishing the fight early. If he fights how he's been fighting, where he's just loose cannon, just going in there trying to, he knows he just got to touch him once, like Derek Lewis, he's not going to be able to do that against somebody like Serghei. I don't see him winning that fight. I just think that Hardy was one of those guys who had a quick rise, and he's going to have a quick exit.
Well, I'd like to see him do it in the 1st round. I think he has the capability if he plays it smart. That's my opinion. So I take Greg Hardy 1st round KO, and you're going with Serghei.
I'm going Serghei 3rd round.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let us know who you guys got in this main card lineup for the next UFC.
This video is sponsored by Lightspeed Payments, processing made easy. For all business owners, head over to lightspeed-payments.com and get a free quote today. Use promo code MADMATTY for 20% off. That's lightspeed-payments.com.
Yeah, let us know who you guys have in the main event. If you guys haven't done it yet, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon below, and we will see you guys soon.
Haters talking shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an